What's up everybody, welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Dion and you're watching Reptiliatus. Friends, today we are setting up a brand new enclosure for a brand new pair of geckos that I'm so excited to introduce partway through this video. Let me explain further. Before I do that, I want to take a moment to let you all know that I make videos about specialty pets such as reptiles, amphibians, and different kinds of cool invertebrates. So if that's something you're interested in learning about, definitely consider subscribing down below and dinging that little notification bell afterwards so you don't miss any of my future uploads. I do my best to post 2 videos a week. Friends, I'm really excited about today's video, and the reason for that is, well, of course, we are bringing new animals into my home, which is always a very exciting time. Here's the thing, it's been a really long time since Dion here has kept any sort of arid species in his home. Fine, I keep a bunch of arid arachnids. That doesn't really count, okay? It's not the same. We're talking reptiles. We want to have some arid species. Most of my reptiles are tropical, and part of that is because I have this immense love for plants, and it's sort of like the best of both worlds. A lot of the tropical species thrive in an environment full of plants, so I get to do both things. And so recently an opportunity arose for me to buy a pair of very, very cool geckos that I'm excited to show you guys. I mean, you've already seen what they look like, so if you know how to ID them, you know, but we'll talk about them shortly. They're very small, they don't take a lot of space, right up my alley for my needs, wants, etc. And then Exo Terra, of course, messaged me and said, hey Dion, we want to show some love to an incredible product. So everything just kind of went hand in hand and worked out well for everybody. And so here I am setting up this incredible enclosure. Thank you so much to Exo Terra for sponsoring today's video. It's such a pleasure collaborating with you guys, and I'm very grateful for the work we do together. And I appreciate so much the product that you've sent me today so that I can produce this lovely home for these really cute geckos. Awesome. Before we get into today's terrarium how-to, I want to introduce you to the inhabitants. Look at these beautiful geckos, everybody. Aren't they amazing? These little geckos are found in the Middle East and Northern Africa. These right here are a pair of short-fingered geckos, the Liechtenstein's short-fingered geckos, or also known as the elegant geckos. The Stenodactylus genus is commonly referred to as the sand gecko. These ones specifically are the Stenodactylus, I believe it's pronounced. They max out at this size. They're very tiny, very active little geckos, and they're perfect for smaller enclosure. I would say that it is incredibly rare to find any species of reptile that can be comfortably housed in a 12 by 12 by 12 footprint enclosure. Usually this is reserved for small invertebrates and marketed to smaller critters like that. However, these geckos max out at just a few inches, like 2.5 inches or so. I think they're one of the smallest members of the genus that are kept in the hobby, and they will do perfectly fine in there. What's very neat is these animals love to dig little tunnels and burrows in their substrate. I'm very eager to get this pair of beautiful geckos into that enclosure because, wow, they are going to have a great time in there. Thank you so much to Exo Terra for sending me an awesome mini 12 by 12 by 12 inch nano enclosure. Now, as you can see, for lighting, we have a mini reptile dome because this is a small enclosure, and then the light that's going to be going into this fixture is just a tiny little 25-watt basking light, which will provide a hotspot for the animals. Here we have a compact dome because we want to use UVB for the animals. They can benefit from this, and despite the nocturnal nature of these reptiles, they actually do spend a lot of time basking during the day, schnoozing under the lights, so I want UVB to be an option. Now, as I mentioned before, this video is a review of the Stone Desert Exo Terra substrate. I gotta say guys, this is such an awesome substrate. It's very naturalistic looking. I mean, you've seen my scorpion videos, it looks amazing. And on top of this, it comes in 3 different colors. First, there's the Bahariya Black, which is a beautiful natural tone, lots of different clay particles that give it that natural feel. Then we have the Outback Red, which is my color of choice for a lot of the Australian species because it really reminds you of, well, the Australian outback. It looks so natural, super cool colors and textures there as well. And then the color we're going to be using in my video today is the Sonoran Ochre, which is a nice tan color. I've been thinking carefully about how I want to execute this project for quite some time. A few weeks ago I collected some dry grass that I'm going to incorporate into the build to give it that sort of scrubland dry feel. I think it's going to look amazing. Alright everybody, so we are looking for some stone that we can use for the build here. I will say I like the look of these little pieces. These might be nice to incorporate into the build. Okay, so this is probably more stone than I need, but we're gonna take this, and funny enough, I'm sure they're happy that I'm taking all the little broken pieces, because who else is gonna buy that if it's for landscaping? Yeah, I think this is gonna suit the project really well. So as you just saw, I went to a landscaping center and bought a bunch of cheap slate. I'm telling you guys, I probably paid $3 for all of this. So keep that in mind, very affordable, and it looks amazing. Most of this isn't that heavy, which is also ideal, but as you can see, there's endless possibilities for what we can do with all these little pieces, and I'm going to build them into the back wall and give the geckos lots of rocky outcrops to hide in using the desert stone substrate. You might be asking yourself, how are you going to do that, Dion? I'm a bit confused. Well, allow me to explain. The Exo Terra stone desert substrate works great as a naturalistic looking loose bedding, but one of the coolest functions this product has is when you add a bit of water to it. Because it is a clay-based substrate, you're actually able to mix it together into a malleable, sculptable material, which can then be used to create anything you can possibly imagine. I found adding the water in small increments and mixing between to be the most effective way to come up with the best consistency, because adding too much water made it a bit too muddy, and you don't want that either. That being said, the product is super easy to work with, and once you have a sort of clay putty consistency, you can literally create everything from rocky outcrops, backgrounds, or little caves. The possibilities are seriously endless, as I said, and the best part is it looks so natural. So let's go ahead now and get started on this build. The first thing I wanted to do is a bit of brainstorming in action. By that I mean I wanted to create some different layouts using the stone slate so that we could kind of figure out where I want things to be positioned, how I'm going to incorporate the stone desert substrate, and more. So that's a little bit of my process here, sped up so you can get a feel for what I'm trying to do. Now all we have to do is prepare some of our stone desert substrate, ready for action. As you can see, perfect consistency. We've got our terrarium ready, and the pile of stones organized by size and shape. Now, we're going to start by using the substrate to anchor our slate to certain spots. So I'm going to press some up against it here and cover all the sides so this rock won't move and will be fixed to this position. This is also important for safety of the animals. Filling the gaps of space between the enclosure walls and the stones also prevents feeder insects from hiding in little nooks and crannies where the animals aren't able to catch them. Now, as we begin to climb up to higher scales, or create secondary levels, I want you to compare this process to laying bricks. As you just saw, I first placed some of the stone desert substrate down before pressing the stone up against it, just as you would press the brick into cement. We're going to continue to do this as we build higher and higher to secure the stone slate as we create our elegant rock formation, which will serve the purpose of providing shelter for the animals and basking locations. I really wanted to take advantage of the middle space of the enclosure by creating this elevated ramp. Not only will this provide the animals with a climbing opportunity, it also again makes more usable space for the animals. We're going to anchor it from the top, as you can see here. And then I'm also supporting the back of this platform to secure it. Now, before the construction of our rocky outcrop gets too tall, it's time to put in our background. I'm going to prepare some of the stone desert substrate, but I'm going to make it a little bit more soft by adding extra water so that we can easily stick it to the back wall. As we go along, we're going to build that background up so that we don't have to worry about trying to get behind the stone, and then we'll continue to build up the rocky outcrop. As you can see though, very easy to apply and it sticks to the glass well. I'm pressing this large piece of slate into the back wall And then we're going to reinforce it from underneath and the side to help support it and make sure it stays built into the background. Now I'm going to start incorporating some of that dried grass. What I'm doing is creating little balls of the substrate around the base of the cuttings. And then I'm able to just stick them and fix them to different parts of the enclosure I like, giving it a naturalistic feel. I also have some small pieces of dried grape wood that I'm going to add to different parts of the enclosure to give it that rustic look, add that dynamic aspect, and, you know, make it look like there's dried tree roots growing out of the rocky outcrops. Again, this is all enrichment too, because the animals can climb in and around them, and it probably helps provide a sense of security as well. Give it a little dust off cleaning, and we're back to work. Friends, we're approaching the top of the enclosure, and I think this is going to be the last little basking platform I create. I'm incorporating a few stones, a few extra branches, a few extra clumps of dried grass to, again, add more aesthetically pleasing features to the enclosure, make it look as naturalistic as possible. Let me know what you think about this layout in the comment section down below, or give this video a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing here. Well, everybody, look at that scape. I'm very impressed with myself, I must say. This is really looking great, and I think the geckos are gonna love it. Friends, all that's left to do now is add our substrate and a water dish. I'm taking some of the dried loose media and pouring it everywhere, ensuring that there is sufficient depth for the geckos to take advantage of some burrowing, because they do love to dig. Now we're going to go ahead and install our lid back on, prepare our lighting, turn on the basking, and we're set. This species should be kept at an ambient temperature between 75 degrees Fahrenheit and 85, and should have a small hotspot of around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. For today's question of the day, I'd like to ask you all, what would you create with a bag of Exo Terra stone desert substrate? Let's say I handed you one right now and I said, build me something cool. What would you make, and for what kind of animal? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, I'll give your comment a heart and we can engage in a little bit of a conversation. Awesome. We're gonna go ahead and move them in now, have a closer look, and then maybe at night what we can do is actually offer them some food. They're very tiny, so they eat fruit flies and pinhead crickets. No shortage of that around here because I keep and breed dart frogs. They're gonna do fantastic. Okay, everybody, now is the exciting moment of truth. We are going to place these geckos into their new home. I'm going to gently pick up this little female. Oh my goodness, she is so stunning. Look at that gecko, guys. Wow. What a gorgeous reptile. Okie dokie. Okay, welcome to your new home. There you are. Go ahead. Bye. She is venturing under there. And now lastly, we'll do the male. Look at this guy. Isn't he gorgeous? Hi, buddy. You're okay. You're okay, buddy. Just gonna gently pick you up. You're good. It's interesting. Their toes, at first I thought they were stuck shed, but they just lack pattern on the inner toes, if you see that. There's no stuck shed. That's just how they are. Here, I'll put him closer to the female. Maybe he'll feel more comfortable being next to her. There we go. Ah, look how natural that substrate looks. Can we talk about that, guys? Like, how amazing does this look? It's like the animal's actually outside in the wilderness doing its thing. There's the female over here. So naturalistic in appearance. One of the common misconceptions with this species is that they need to be kept bone dry. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Although they shouldn't be kept in constant humidity, they do require a moist area, and this can be achieved by periodically spraying down the substrate to add that extra humidity. You'll find that the geckos will specifically congregate in those areas, but then also ensuring that they have access to a fresh water dish at all times helps with that too. Friends, the geckos have settled into their new home for a few days, and dusk has come and left. It is nighttime. Let's see if our new little friends are interested in eating some 1/4 inch crickets dusted in calcium and vitamin supplement. As you can see, the female is, oh nice, super eager. Look at her go. It's crazy, they really do swallow those crickets quickly. No time to chew, it seems. Oh, she's found another one. Is she gonna get it? Oh, she's going for it. Nice, good job, girl. I'm always happy to see the female eat a lot because my fingers are crossed that we're gonna have a gravid girl soon. Here's the male chilling on his rock. Oh, good job, buddy. He's a little bit more shy about eating, but I'm sure he'll have no trouble as he continues to settle in. Wonderful. Before we end today's video, I want to take a moment to sincerely thank my patrons over on the Patreon platform. Thank you so much for everybody's support there. You guys are fantastic. I love our little community. You guys have a direct line of communication with me. Of course, there's all the unlocked perks associated with becoming a patron. You know all the sneak peeks that are coming up for cool videos. There's discounts on merch, as well as different tier perks associated with what you're giving. So, you know, $5 and up tier, you get the handwritten thank you card after a few months. There's merch contests and more. If you're interested in learning about how you can become a patron for as little as $2 a month to support the channel and the animals, check out the link down below. And as always, part of being a patron, when you first sign up, you get a shout out. And today, we are thanking our newest patron over on the platform, Ronnie. Ronnie, thank you so much for becoming my newest patron over on Patreon. Look forward to getting to know you better on there, and yeah, I'll chat with you soon. Awesome. Well, everybody, there you have it. I sincerely hope you enjoyed watching today's video of me using the Exo Terra Stone Desert substrate to create an exciting and elegant new... I say elegant and I realize the geckos are called elegant geckos. How fitting. An elegant enclosure for an elegant gecko pair. These animals are so cool, and it's exciting for me to be keeping desert or arid species again. They're such an adorable little African and Middle Eastern species. Fingers crossed, maybe if we're lucky, I'm hoping we'll even get some eggs to incubate and maybe produce the species in the coming months. And lastly, I want to say thank you so much again to Exo Terra for sponsoring this video. I'm very appreciative of the supplies, the enclosure, the lights, etc. Pretty fantastic, and I really appreciate our partnership. Alas, I'll leave it there. If you want to see more videos on scaping enclosures, doing terrarium tutorials, and more, check out the playlist up above. Thanks so much, everybody. Can't wait to see you for the next video. Take care.